Okay, so yeah, I want to talk about this magic page in the Wikipedia I wrote. I finally was able to write a sort of comprehensive guide on magic in the Runiverse and touch on all these things like runes, like the color, like specialty, and other things that sort of define magic. And I promise I'll answer your question in this, Meeple. Um, but I think like the most important thing that you should take away from magic in the Runiverse is that every wizard approaches magic differently because magic is an art form. Um, no two artists would define art in the same way. Just when one art movement pops up, 5 years later, a new art movement comes to counteract it with an entirely different approach. Um, so that's why I've always been sort of hesitant to like define a quote magic system in the Runiverse, because you can't really systematize art. Um, and so what's cool about the wizards in the Runiverse is they mix and match these different influences like runes, like color, like specialty. And so everybody has a wizard that has these at least these three different influences in it. Um, and that sort of helps define your unique magical expression. And I also just want to make a meta point, which is like I think this applies in real life too. I don't know if you guys know who Scott Galloway is, but I think he's an
Yeah.
interesting sort of pundit these days. And he always talks about like how to be successful in this or that. And one thing he said I saw a few weeks ago, he was like, okay, we're in this job market that's extremely competitive. And it's like, how do you stand out? And one method he recommended was just like, don't just be good at one thing, be good at two or three things, and then blend them together, and that will make you a very unique type of talent. And like if I think about the most successful people I know, they're not just like good at one thing. They've put two awesome things together to make themselves really unique and special. Like Dota is obviously really good at programming, but he also has a really keen business acumen. And so you put that together, and you can be like just the CEO of Magic Machine. And I think everybody like really has like a couple unique talents that they could blend together to just really make a interesting art form and put a really unique mark on the world. And so it is with the Wizards and Forgotten Runes. Now, to answer your question, Meeple, about the runes, so if you look at this page in the Wikipedia, of course there's four separate categories of runes. There's the planetary, the elemental, the alchemy runes, and the miscellaneous runes. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory, but I think what's really special actually is the alchemy runes. If you read what they do, the all of them together attempt to do this fundamental mission in alchemy, which is it's this phrase in Latin. It says "solve et coagula," which means dissolve and coagulate, which means to break something down to its basic components and then rebuild it into something noble or beautiful. Um, I think even the wizards are represent this. They're these creative primitives made of very simple pixels. That's like the breakdown phase. And then every day, everyone in the cult does the coagulate phase. We take that basic fundamental element and we make it into something beautiful and magical. Um, and so yeah, the alchemy runes do this. It starts with lime, which, again, to answer your question, Meeple, I think that might be one of my favorite, most underrated runes, the rune of lime, because on a practical level, it's a key ingredient in concrete, which is a foundational material upon which cities rise. And what's really cool about concrete is the Romans knew how to make concrete, and then it got lost during the Middle Ages, and now we're making it again. So it's this sort of timeless material upon which great cities were erected. It's like the true world builder rune, the true world builder material. So the lime is the first stage in this building phase. Then comes the rune of steel, which is used to make buildings and industrial manufacturing and machinery. It's like what you put on top of the foundation. You make all the things to put on top of the foundation. Brass is a rune of harmony and unity. Um, it's used to make a lot of musical instruments, which of course are used to bring harmony and unity to art. Okay, so if you imagine you build the foundation with with lime, you put all the things on top of it with steel, then you harmonize it with brass. Okay, the next one is cinnabar, and that's a rune of aesthetics. After you harmonize them, you make them beautiful with cinnabar. And then finally, brimstone. You destroy it all with brimstone. And then this whole cycle repeats. Um, so, I don't think that's something I've ever really talked about with the alchemy runes, but I just think they're very special in that regard.
It's
Oh, go ahead.
my dad wrote me right after you published your runes magic page, and he said Elf did an amazing job with Wikipedia, and I don't want to be the one to tell him, but I have a wizard and two warriors that have runes he doesn't mention. I have a wizard with a rune of the sun and a warrior that has the rune of power. And I don't want to post on X and publicly complain, but how should I let him know?
Let me know in public on Wizard Wednesday. No, but honestly, I'm aware of that. There's yet even another one. There's the Soul Rune that's not in here either. Um, but yeah, I think there's actually two warrior runes that are not here in here. There's the Soul Rune, and then yeah, the Sun Rune. Yeah, there's no excuse for that. I need to get the Sun Rune in there, but
Oh, I don't think it's
uh,
an excuse. I don't think you need an excuse. It's just everybody is so curious. We're looking forward to the future editions.
okay, awesome. Um, but yeah, and then finally, okay, and then secondly, there's the hat colors. We've talked about the hat colors over and over the past 3 years. But I will say one color we don't talk much about is black, because the shadow hats were kind of a collection that intentionally came out of nowhere by design. And I wanted to keep like black, like literally in the shadows for a while, but I think it's finally to start talking. It's finally time to start talking about black magic. Um, and like the thing to know about it is it is like on the outside of this entire spectrum. It literally sits on the outside. I mean, I think like the source of black magic is the total void of absolute nothingness, which is one of our NFTs in the Soul Collection. But that it's the entire like void that's outside of our known world, and it's just a source of mystery and intrigue and honestly horror. Um, and so that makes it really kind of the most powerful magic force that anyone could possibly use. Um, but you wouldn't want to use it because you will totally lose your humanity and identity. It's like, what is absolute power worth if you totally lose yourself in it? Um, what is fun though is the purple hats actually come close to this, because purple is the closest color to black. It's the darkest of all the chromatic colors. Um, and that's why we see the purple hats kind of like losing their minds and being a little kooky and crazy, but they have maintained their humanity, unlike the black magic users. That's the biggest difference. So they're sort of flirting with chaos, but black totally embraces it. um, but yeah, so I just wanted to mention that in black magic, and then finally the magical specialties, which everybody sees at the it's in your wizard name what your sort of specialty is. And I'm even missing some on in the wiki for in this regard as well, which I'll continue to add to it. But yeah, I mean these sort of fall outside the whole rune and color structure. They it's yet just another way to practice magic that isn't associated with the rune or color.
That's
Um,
fun. I don't think you've ever revealed before that the void of absolute nothingness is the source of black magic.
yeah, yeah. It's I mean, and what's great is Tim Smith owns it, and I mean he's a perfect black magic guy. But yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this, Dota. Like everything in the collection is connected. Everything has a relationship to another thing in the collection. Almost nothing is sitting in a vacuum. Almost nothing. And so I mean, someday I want to expose every single connection. But it just it takes time to trickle all that out.